All right, so for this assignment, we are going to be focusing on value and we're going to be creating some landscapes. So your landscape could look similar to the one that I will show you in Canva, or if you want to kind of create your own design with the same kind of idea in mind, you can. The goal that we want to look at with this value assignment is that we're going to create some sort of a landscape. And as we are thinking about our landscape, we want to think about creating objects that are further away from us with lighter values. And then as objects get closer and closer and closer to us, then those objects are going to become darker, kind of like what you see in here. So to create this assignment, we are going to head on over to Canva. And just like we did for our radial symmetry, we're going to create a custom size. And we'll do 10 inches for the width, 10 for the height, and we'll switch that to 2 inches. Oh, let me redo that. And inches, and we'll create a new design. This creates just a nice setup for us. All right, so when I am building, I am going to start with my very background. So this is my sky that's going to be happening. So with my sky, I am going to just click on the white square and I'm going to come up above and I'm going to select my little color wheel. And I want to think about what kind of color scheme do I want to go for. So we're going to be sticking with something called monochromatic. And monochromatic means one color. So as you saw in the examples that I showed us, we were looking at all blues or all oranges or all purples. Okay, so think about a color that you maybe want to do. So maybe I want to do something with this kind of like seafoam green. Now, because this is in the background, this is our sky. I'm going to go something super light. Maybe something like that. All right, so now that I have my background, now I'm going to start creating whatever is happening in my landscape. And I'm going to start by creating the part of my landscape that is furthest away from me. So I am going to create kind of a mountain line. So I'm going to come over to my elements. And I am going to find a triangle because I'm going to make some mountains. And I'm going to select a triangle. And once I have a triangle, I'm going to just kind of change the size of it. I'm going to copy and paste another one and maybe make this one a little bit taller. Copy and paste another one. Maybe this one I'll make a little bit shorter. I could also change that height a little bit. And you could build your mountains out of triangles. You could also go over to our side and do elements and look for a mountain. If you choose to do that, you're going to have to find something that you can edit the colors. Because if you can't edit the colors, it's not going to really work. Okay, so I put this line of triangles in the background. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them all. So I can press and hold shift and then select them all. Or I can click on the right hand side and drag over and that will also select them all. So now that they're all selected, I want to group them together. It's just going to be, it'll make us changing the color a lot faster. You can certainly do it one at a time. I like to group so I can change it all at once. So because I selected this kind of tealy background, I am going to go into my color dropper. I want to get back into my teal color. And these mountains are further away from us. So I'm going to make them so they're not as light as the sky, but they're pretty far away. So I'm going to make them pretty light. Maybe something like that. Okay, I'm going to make another mountain line. And I want to make my mountain lines different because if this was really nature, our mountains are all going to look different from each other. I'm going to just use those triangles. And again, you don't have to do mountains. You can do other sort of objects. You can kind of pick and choose how you want to do that. And you can see I'm just copying and pasting my shapes in, and you can copy and paste. You can do it different than how I am. Okay, and now I'm going to group those all together. And I'm going to change this color. Now this is getting a little bit closer to us. So I'm going to make this same kind of color scheme, but I'm going to get a little bit darker because it's getting closer. And then for today, I want you to do one additional mountain line or line of trees or whatever you are creating. So copy and paste all my mountains here. Slide this over. You want to make sure that you don't have those gaps. You can see that I'm kind of getting some gaps in between, and I'm just filling up as I go by sliding my triangles around. Let me make that one a little taller. And one more over here. I'm going to shorten that guy up. There we go. And again, I'm going to make these a step darker because I'm getting closer. And remember, I'm trying to keep it in that kind of tealy color range because that's that color, that monochromatic color that I selected. And that is where you are going to stop for today.